you see that the president has said that on multiple occasions over the last 18 months. He has taken
That is
sanctions.
not what he said yesterday. He in no way said what DNI code said. DNI code said it's ongoing and it is pervasive, and you are saying it's not as important as these other issues.
And under the Trump administration that has sanctioned dozens of people, expelled diplomats, worked with state agencies through our security to toughen up the cybersecurity issues. So we are sending a very strong message. We are being very tough on Russia, but we're also looking forward to working with them in the future.
Yeah, but CNN and little Miss Twitty Twat here, she can't hear that. She's tough when it comes to going after Trump because he wants to make peace with Russia, and she doesn't like that. She'd rather have Obama boy, you know, the little Kenyan, smarmy boy, giving arms to ISIS and Al-Qaeda to protect the deep state. She'd like that. And she wants to have a boogeyman in Russia. And Trump doesn't. And Trump doesn't want to spend the nation's treasury anymore on the frivolity of protecting European degenerates who want to bring in Muslims to kill them. Imagine? And Trump says, have at it. Do whatever you want. We're not paying for it anymore. You don't want to pay your NATO share? Hang yourselves. And if America and Russia become the friends they ought to be, because by every precept of nature, we should be. We don't go around starting World War I, World War II, the Napoleonic Wars, wars of conquest, Frederick the Great, the Dukes of Marlborough, the Crusades. That's Europeans. That wasn't us. That wasn't Russia. There were no Eastern Orthodox invasions. Matter of fact, in the name of the Pope and Crusades did Europe invade Byzantium and try to kill Byzantine Greek Orthodox people. So know your history. Central Europe has been the breeding ground of enmity, hatred, tribal hatreds, racism, and murder. Okay? That's why America was born, to get away from it. We got our way from our Germanic roots. And America was born, read the book by Arthur Herman, The Scots in America, and how the Scottish ethic built America. This is this, and that is that, and a man is a man for all of that. That was a rejoinder to some English noble coming into a hall, and they announced his inane titles on echelon. And being totally bored with it, the great Scottish poet said, this is this, and that is that, and a man is a man for all of that. And on that ethos was America born. The majority of signees of the Declaration of Independence were of Scottish descent because they had pride and honor, unlike a lot of their Celtic brethren. They stood their post. But we don't hear about that in America. So when I listen to some shill on CNN mourning the fact that Trump and Putin are trying to work a relationship for the better part of the world and to free us from under the sword of Damocles of nuclear holocaust. See, when liberals make movies about it, it's okay. Watch Crimson Tide with Denzel, could be the Messiah, Washington, right? And of course, Gene Hackman plays the evil white guy. And as the world hangs on the precipice of nuclear annihilation, what is the conversation and plot of the movie reduced to? Whitey's mean, Blackie's good. Even break it down to the color of a leprechaun or horse at birth versus maturity. Because the libtards will use any excuse to make a movie that creates racial hatred and enmity because they can't have it. Go to West Point. I know a lot of kids that came through there. Black, white, Oriental, Jew, Gentile. They're magnificent. They get over it. But not in secular humanity in America, not where the liberals control the school systems and the media. They have to promote their disease of racist enmity. They live off it, see? And they can't abide the idea that Trump would be the greatest peacemaker maybe in American history. It galls them. They'd rather have a guy that talks about it, doesn't do a goddamn thing, goes to Egypt and apologizes, talks about the great sound of the call to prayer among Muslims. The Manchurian, Kenyan, commie, homosexual, their idol, their messiah, the Obumster, affiliated with Bill Ayers and the killers of the Weather Underground that killed two of my friends, Sergeant Eddie O'Grady and Waverly Chip Brown. One white, one black, both cops in Nyack, New York. See the date, 10/20/81. I was there that day. I was effing there that day. So I know from what I speak, personally, intellectually, historically, and these clowns in the media, and these clowns, rhinos like Ryan and McCain, the Irish sellouts, listen to Van Morrison's song, They Sold Me Out. Watch the movie The Informer with Victor McLaughlin. Chippo wouldn't sell us out. That's the legacy of the Irish bloodline. If the Celts would stand strong in Ireland, nobody could have conquered them. But there's always just enough that sell out. And then the heroes die. It's a tragic legacy. We have to run these communists out of this country. And when Putin called CNN his Vestia and Pravda, he knows from what he speaks. There is nobody as sane as a person who went through insanity. James Taylor wrote a wonderful article about that. And the Soviet Union was insanity. And the Russians survived it. And for all their nuttiness, they may be the sanest people left on earth. While America, and a good portion of America, wants to drift ever closer to that Bolshevik insanity that the Russians survived. And the young kids today, believing in Bernie Sanders' Claus, you know, the anointed chosen one who never had a job till he was 42 years old. But he's going to pay for that college. I'd give them free stuff. I think everybody ought to have a free pastrami sandwich every day of the week. Because I'm bitey, and that's what I think. I have to ask the question. You know, the Chinese culture is 4,000 years old. The Jewish culture is 5,000 years old. Where did all those Jews eat for the first 1,000 years? That's the question of the day.